Waiting for my on button. Oh, there we go. Well, good evening. How are y'all doing? We're doing good. Hopefully that reaction is just because you're happily eating, which is good. So glad that y'all are here and a part of Movement Weekend 2026. It's hard to believe that we're already just 5 days away. And so we're incredibly thankful for each one of you being a part of it. And if you notice this computer right here, it's because it is recording us for all those leaders that are not here so they can have a recording of the video. So it's not like that's our notes and we're just going off of it right there. That's video. But no, you still had to come. And you got food, right? But Tracy, give a wave. Poke over and give a wave. There we go. That's Tracy. All right. But super thankful for you guys. I'm going to kick us off and talk through the theme real quick of what we're doing this year at Movement Weekend. So Pastor Corey, the lead pastor of Bell Shoals, is coming in, and he's going to be leading our two main sessions on Friday night and Saturday night. And the theme this year is the Bible. We love to choose really easy, not that big of like things, but we're talking all things the Bible. And so just to give you a little idea of what you're going to be discussing and talking through during your small group time is Friday night, Corey's going to start off by kind of talking about how God brings deliverance out of dysfunction. And he's going to talk through how the Bible isn't just, Old Testament, New Testament only talks about Jesus. That's it. But actually how the story of redemptive history goes from the beginning all the way and culminates in Christ. And so that night is going to be very heavy gospel. We're going to share the gospel. And so that's going to be a gospel heavy night, just to have you guys prepared for that. Conversations about that. Lewis will actually walk through a little bit more of maybe how to have some of those conversations, but just so that you all are ready. And then Saturday morning, we're going to do breakouts again. We're going to have 3 breakout options. Those are going to be Stephen Staten, our Apollo Beach campus pastor, Tavis McNair, our global discipleship pastor, and then our very own, sitting in the front row, our executive pastor, Scott Odom. Come on. Go Gators, too. Big win against Kentucky. Are there any Kentucky fans in the room? They're still in hiding. All right. But they're going to do some breakout sessions about the Bible as well. And so Stephen Staten, he's going to hit how the Bible came to be. How do we have the Bible that we have today? Tavis McNair is going to be going to hit how to read the Bible hermeneutically. So how to more interpret the Bible. And then Scott is going to lead how to read the Bible and how do you have a personal quiet time. And so those will be the 3 breakout options. You can choose 2 breakouts as a student or as a leader, and then you'll spend time discussing those breakouts in your group. And then Saturday evening, Pastor Corey will be back up, and so he'll kind of hit gospel heavy on the first night, and then the second night will be more sanctification and how authentic faith produces authentic change. And then when you commit to follow Jesus, your life is going to change for the better. And so we'll still be gospel that night, but that'll be more, okay, now what? After you've come to know the Lord, after the Lord has saved you, now what going on from here? And so that's kind of our theme. That's what we'll be talking about throughout the weekend. And now we'll be jumping through a little bit more of the packet. I'm going to hit the first few pages, and then I'm going to invite Morgan up after that. If you turn over the first page, you'll just see a little welcome letter from the team. I think everybody knows the team, but I'll introduce us real quick. My name is John. I'm the student pastor at our Apollo Beach campus. We got Morgan Rummage right here at the front, who is, man, they care about you way more than they care about me. They're like, yeah, whatever. Morgan, yeah, I get it. I understand. She's our student associate here at the Brandon campus. We got Luis Ruiz in the back. He got a woo too. Even from the Apollo table. What is this? Awesome. Okay. But he's our Brandon campus student pastor. And then my wife, Brittany, in the back. I can't get mad about that one. That makes sense, right? But she is the student worship leader here at Bell Shoals. So you'll see our contact info there. If you guys don't have that, that is all of our cell phones. And so if you guys want that information in your phone, just so that you can reach out to us throughout the weekend, feel free to put those in your phones. That way you have it and you're not, maybe scrambling for this packet, which you're inevitably going to lose when you go home tonight. And so that way you have it in your phones for this weekend. If you flip over to the next page, you'll see group assignments. One thing that I want to make note of here is you'll see the address for the host home that you're staying at. And so if you don't know what host home you're at or the address for it, you have that there. And then if you're in a group and you don't know one of the other leaders or you don't know the host home, feel free to come up to us afterwards. We'd love to introduce you guys tonight. If they're here, just to get you guys connected, but wanted to make sure you all had those addresses there for the host home if you didn't know exactly where you were staying. You flip over, we'll walk through our movement weekend leader expectations and host home expectations. We'll walk through the leader ones first. Number one is plan on participating in all parts of movement weekend unless you have let the student staff know that you will be out for a specified time. So please plan to be there for all parts of movement weekend. If there's something that you have that you can't miss, please just communicate that with either Lewis, Morgan, or myself, just so that we're aware. And if a student comes up like, hey, where is, so-and-so, it's not like, oh, I don't know, but we know where you all are. So please let us know about that. Number two, you have been assigned a group of students that you will lead alongside 1 to 2 other adult leaders at a host home. Your goal for the weekend is to develop meaningful relationships with your students and help foster relationships within the group. And so that's the whole goal of the weekend, is to develop those relationships with the students. I know a lot of you all are friends in here, which is incredible, but the goal for the weekend is really spending time and investing in the students' lives. Hanging out with each other is a little bit of a bonus, but isn't the priority. The priority is the students first and foremost. Number three, work with your host family throughout the weekend to comply with their wishes concerning the use of their home. It's very important that you all help maintain the rules that the host homes have provided, because if the host homes say something and you're like, the student comes up to you and you're just the leader and you're like, maybe you can just go for it, that's not going to go super well. So please be sure to help the host home and help the students keep the rules that they have been given. Number four, lead and facilitate discussion during your small group time following the messages. The goal is for the students to do the talking. You are helping to direct and guide conversation, and we will provide discussion questions for each session. That way you have some to go off of, but similar to Wednesday night, if some of you all serve on Wednesday, those questions are really just to help you facilitate conversation. But if the students take it in another direction, that's great. That's what we want. And so just let them do the talking. And something that I always tell leaders is silence is your friend. If they're not really talking, especially that first night, if you got a new group, maybe they don't know each other super well, there might be a little bit of uncomfortable silence, especially with some of the middle school groups. They'll just kind of want to sit there and just like, all right, oh, is this gonna be the whole weekend? But they will start talking if you let them. And so I always let students know something is like, I can out-silence you. I will out-silence you. And that's going to be way more uncomfortable for them than them talking. So let them do the discussion. Number five, this is something new this year, lead and direct the late night experience. And so I'm going to walk through a little bit more of the details for that, because we're no longer doing the Amazing Race. Some of you are excited for that. Some of you might be sad about that, but there was a lot of running involved with the Amazing Race. And I remember at the end of it, seeing the students like bust in the room and they're all excited. And then here's the leader like lagging behind a little bit because it's a lot of running. And so this year, I think to help out a little bit, but also to get you guys home earlier, we're going to do something completely different. So what we're going to do is something called Shoal Tank. How many of you have ever seen Shark Tank? All right, so this is a little off of that, little rip off of Shark Tank, but we're going to give each group, meaning each host home, a box of 10 specific items. Everybody has those same items, and your goal as a group is to go back to the host home and create something, invent something to solve a problem. So you're going to make an invention out of the items that you find, or have, not find, items that you have. You're going to film a video of it of no more than 2 minutes, and you're going to submit that video to a Google link that we'll provide in the GroupMe that Friday. So that Friday night, invent something, you're going to submit the video, and then on Saturday morning, you are going to have to, or we as the Sharks are going to decide which group had the best invention. So there will be 5 Sharks up on the stage. We're going to show some of the best videos, also some of the worst videos, because worst is always funnier. Yep. Yeah. So, and then we are going to declare a winner who is going to walk away with free Chick-fil-A for their class party. Chick-fil-A catered for their class party. And so what we all need you guys to do is help lead and direct that and make sure that your students submit a video. Submit a video. Every group has to submit a video. And so you'll do that at the host home that evening, create an invention. So we're super excited for that. I think it's going to be really cool. And then Saturday morning will be fun, and you won't be here until like 11:45 in the evening. So going to be great. That's Shoal Tank this year, our Friday late night experience. Number 6, look for opportunities to engage with your students throughout the weekend. Again, this somewhat reiterates of what we already said. The goal and the priority for this weekend is to engage and invest in the students' lives that are going to be here. We have over 370 students registered that are going to be a part of this weekend. So we have an incredible opportunity to pour into these students. And so I want to encourage you all to take every opportunity that you have to spend time with them, build those relationships, because, man, you don't know the impact that you're having. Sometimes it doesn't feel like you're doing a whole lot, but, man, it means more than you could ever know. And I know for a lot of us in the room, and I know myself, is I wouldn't be here without some of the leaders that I had at Movement Weekend and camp and Sunday morning and Wednesday night. And so what you guys are doing is so important, and you're building and lasting relationships. And so I want to encourage you to look for every opportunity to do so. Number 7, be prepared and available to talk with students about spiritual decisions they make during the weekend. If you have a student that makes a spiritual decision, please complete the digital decision form so the student team can follow up. This is something we'll provide in the GroupMe for you all. And so if you have a student that makes a spiritual decision, whether that's a first-time decision, they come to know the Lord, or that's a decision where, man, they want to take that next step of faith and baptism, please fill that form out. It's very important that you do so, because the following week, myself, Morgan, and Lewis, we spend time reaching out to every student that makes a decision. We set up meetings so that we can follow up with them. And so in that, you'll find a notes page. It's very important that you provide as much details as possible, just because you're the ones having the conversations. We aren't. And so it's very helpful to have as much information as possible going into those conversations with parents and with those students following Movement Weekend. And we may call you about some of those decisions, so just be prepared for that as well, just to learn more about that conversation that you had. But very important to fill out that decision form. Number 8, never promise a student that what they tell you will remain confidential. You are required to share issues such as abuse and suicidal thoughts with either Lewis, Morgan, or myself. And so there's going to be students throughout this week that may share some things with you, and they may want to say something like, man, can you please not tell anybody? Don't tell me, please just keep that between us. But there are things that you cannot keep between yourself and that student. There are those things that you are required to come and tell us. And so please do so, and never promise that you're going to keep that information confidential, but share that with us as soon as you find out. Number 9, please reset your group's meeting spot on Saturday night for Sunday morning life groups. Morgan's going to walk through this a little bit, but you guys are going to be in life group rooms that we use on Sunday morning. And so it's very important that at the beginning on Friday night, right before you guys go in there and maybe change the room up so that it fits your group more, just snap a picture of it. So then on Saturday night, when you guys finish your last small group, you can put it back the way you found it. So on Sunday morning for life groups, whether it's kids or students or adult life groups, they're not going in there being like, what in the world happened? But you put it back together the way you found it. And so snap a picture of it. That we found that that's probably the easiest way to do that. Number 10, provide transportation for your students throughout the weekend. You must be 19 and 1 year removed from student ministry. And so please provide transportation and please drive safely. I feel like I need to mention that. Please drive safely. Make sure all students are wearing their seatbelts. Please provide transportation safely. Number 11, collect cell phones on Friday night when you get back to your host home. Phones can be returned Sunday morning before leaving church. Please monitor any technology use at the home. This is very important that you all collect these phones as soon as you get back on Friday night to the host home. Make sure you collect them and then make sure you keep them somewhere that the students don't know of. And that the students aren't like, oh yeah, they're all, right here where we can see them. But please keep those separate because it removes any distraction that the students may have on their phone and allows them to be separated from that and fully engaged during movement weekend. And then also, please just monitor any technology use at the host home, whether somebody wants to jump on a switch or something like that. Make sure that's monitored and not just, oh, here's free reign to all the technology in the home. Number 12, never be alone with a student. You want to strive to always be above reproach. And so if there's ever a moment where there's a group of students and yourself, and then maybe a group of students leaves and it's just going to be one, remove yourself from that situation just so that you can always remain above reproach. And then 13, and very importantly, please be preparing yourself spiritually for your leadership role at Movement Weekend. Hopefully you all are doing so already, but please be in prayer for this weekend, for the students and your group. Be in the Word, getting ready, because man, this is an incredible weekend, an incredible opportunity we have to invest in these students' lives, and you guys are a huge role of that. So please just be preparing yourself spiritually for this weekend. If you flip over, we'll hit these host home expectations, and then I'll invite Morgan up to hit a couple other things. Number 1, you have been assigned a group of students that will stay at your home along with 1 to 2 adult leaders. Number 2, please provide clear expectations and rules for the students staying in your home. The leaders will work with you to make sure these expectations are enforced. Something that we found helpful, maybe if this is your first time, that Friday when all the students get back to your home, just use that as the opportunity before they want to go crazy and maybe dig into some junk food. Just gather them together. Hey, let me walk through a couple of rules for the house. This is the bathroom you need to use. Just some important details that they need to know. And that's the best time to do it before they get all excited and just want to hang out and talk and maybe go in all their different directions. Number 3, you're welcome to come and enjoy any part of the weekend. We'd love for you guys to join us for sessions, anything like that. However, we do ask that you do not attend the small group discussion times, but we'd love to have you join us for any of the sessions on Friday, Saturday morning, or Saturday night. Number 4, please plan to provide breakfast for the students in your home on Saturday morning. But also, you do not need to feel like you need to cook this incredibly massive breakfast with bacon and eggs and a casserole. If you want to do that, let me know who is, and I will be joining you for Saturday breakfast. But just something simple, something small. I know some people just do donuts, or maybe they have bagels and cereal, but just something like that. Or if you do want to do a big meal, that's up to you. But don't feel like that is the expectation and what we want. Number 5, if necessary, please help provide transportation for your students throughout the weekend. I know there's a few groups that are very large, and so I'm sure we've been communicated that, but please be prepared to provide that transportation. Number 6, we said this with leaders as well, never be alone with the student, always be above reproach. And so never be alone. And then number 7, begin praying for the students who will be staying in your home. If you all would like a list or don't have a list already of what those are, we'd be happy to give you that list so you can be praying specifically for them. But man, you guys are a big part of Movement Weekend as well. You've taken the time to allow students to come and spend the entire weekend at your house. And some of you did that for middle school boys. And so we're very appreciative of you, right? But man, just begin praying for those students. And again, we're so thankful for each one of you taking the time. We know this is a lot. We know you guys have a lot going on. But man, what you're doing is going to make a lasting impact in the lives of these students. And I know we're forever grateful, and they will be too. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Morgan Rummage, who's going to continue walking through the packet.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, John mentioned this just a minute ago, but it reminded me, if you do not know who's in your group yet, you can actually scan the QR code on the screen behind you, and that'll pull up our parent packet. That parent packet went out today to all of our parents and students, so that will have the list of students that are going to be staying in your house. For the next few minutes, I want to walk you through the Movement Weekend schedule, which is the next page in your leader packet. I want to hit some of the highlights, some things that I want you to be aware of heading into the weekend. So you'll notice on that schedule, we're going to ask that you be here at 5:30 on Friday evening. I know for some of you, you're going to be coming from work. That might be a little bit of a challenge. That's okay. Get here when you can. But if you're able to be here at 5:30, please be here at that time. I know some of you have kind of seen the check-in process for Movement Weekend, but parents and students will be checking in here in the SEC, and then we'll actually have dinner available for them in the gym. And so for about an hour and a half, it's going to be pretty chaotic. And so just you being here and helping to provide supervision and leadership to those students is super helpful for us. So if you're able to be here at 5:30, that's great. Feel free to kind of float in between the SEC and the gym. And then also, if you already know your students, that's a really great opportunity to just connect with them as the weekend begins. You'll notice at 7 o'clock, we've got our first session in the chapel, and then that's followed by our first small group time. If you flip over to the next page, you'll see your small group locations. I do want to highlight a few things on the small group locations. So if you are an Apollo Beach group, all of our Apollo Beach groups are going to be meeting in the adult ministry building. If you're not familiar where that is, you're literally going to go out these doors and like diagonal, and it's the portable. You'll run right into it. So all of our middle school and high school Apollo Beach groups will be out there. And then you'll notice the breakdown for the Brandon groups as well. So all of our middle school boys will be over in the student building. Some of our middle school girls will be up in the admin building, and then everyone else will be in the B building. So that's our kids space. For those of you that have larger groups, I know some of you have groups that are like 14, 15 students. We've actually provided you 2 small group spaces so that you have the opportunity to split if you decide to do so. I know conversation, especially with middle schoolers, like 15 middle schoolers in a group, that can be tough. And so we'll leave it up to you guys if you want to choose to split that, and you've got 2 rooms available for you. John mentioned this earlier, but just go ahead and take a picture of that space on Friday night when you get in there. That way you can reset it on Sunday morning. So that helps our facilities team out so that they're not having to come in behind us and reset everything for Sunday. After small groups on Friday night, you'll head back to the chapel for our late night experience. John kind of walked through that. We'll give big picture instructions to the students just to make sure everyone's aware of what's going on. And then following that time, you guys will be able to leave directly for the host home. One thing we have asked students to do this year is to not pack suitcases. So the hope is that will make transportation of luggage on Friday night a little bit easier. Realistically, they're with us for a day and a half. There's no reason they should have a massive suitcase that you need when you travel for a week. So we're hoping we're going to get away with some duffel bags this year. We'll see, but we're hoping that will kind of mitigate some of the issues that we have when it comes to transporting luggage on Friday night. All right, Saturday schedule. We're going to ask that you be here at 8:30 to the Brandon campus in the chapel. We will do our welcome and instructions and shoal tank starting at 8:45. So we're going to ask that you be on time that morning. Following that time is when the students are going to head to their breakout sessions. John mentioned this earlier. We're going to have 3 breakout sessions. They'll get to choose 2 of the 3. that they want to attend. The locations for those breakout sessions are going to be the MPC, the SEC, which is in here, and then B230, which is our large room upstairs in the kids' building. One of the things that is always a challenge during that time is helping students to navigate where those breakout sessions are. So if you come across students who look lost or don't know where they're going, you know where those breakout sessions are. There's going to be a map in their book that they receive. Please help us to make sure that students get to those locations. Following your breakout session, you'll have your second small group time, which will be in the same space as the night before. And then from that, we'll transition to lunch, which will be in the gym. Here's a change from last year. After lunch, we are not going to be gathering everyone in the chapel to go over instructions for mission projects. If you've served previously with us, you know that typically we bring everyone together and walk through instructions for mission projects. It is our least favorite time of the weekend because it is the most chaotic time of the weekend. And so what we're going to do is actually have you guys after lunch circle your group up and then leave. You have the instructions for your mission project. You're going to know ahead of time what you're doing and where you're going. After lunch is over, it's going to be your responsibility to gather your students and then get in the car and head to your mission project. My suggestion is that you guys eat lunch together that day. If not, the students are going to be a little spread out. It might be a little more difficult to try and track everyone down. My encouragement with you would just be to eat lunch as a group on Saturday. You'll see our mission project is from 1 to 3. If you look on the page after small group locations, you will see your mission project assignments. It has what the items the students need to bring. Those went out in the parent packet this morning. It has the address, and then also for those of you that are going to be helping out with some church member yard work, it has the name of the person that you're going to be helping. If you're helping a specific individual, we will shoot you the contact info of that person this week. My encouragement would be just to give them a call, introduce yourself, and just connect with them before the weekend starts. After your mission project is over on Saturday, you guys will have time to head back to the host home to get cleaned up. We tried to give you plenty of time to have a little bit of buffer because during this time, students will typically like to shower, get cleaned up, get ready for dinner. And then you'll be back here at the church at 6 o'clock in the gym. Session 2 will start at 6:45, and then you'll have your final small group time right after that. Don't forget during that final small group time to reset your space for Sunday morning. So that'll be the time that you need to reset your space. Following your session 2 in small groups, everyone needs to swing back by the chapel because in the back of the chapel, there is going to be a bag that has the t-shirts for your groups, and it's also going to have a Ziploc bag of thank you notes. You're going to take those home with you to your host home on Saturday night. My recommendation would be to wait to hand those t-shirts out till the last possible minute Saturday night, because if we're being real, they have a tendency to be lost or damaged, or, middle school boys don't have to explain that. So my encouragement would be is to hand those t-shirts out Saturday night, and then they're going to wear those t-shirts to church on Sunday morning. Also in that bag is going to be a Ziploc bag that has thank you notes. What we're going to ask you to do is have every single student in your group write a thank you note for the host home. Our host homes go above and beyond. Many of them do much more than what's expected. And so we want to make sure that they know that they're loved and appreciated for all that they've done for the weekend. So Saturday night, have those students go ahead and fill out a thank you note. Each of them fill out a thank you note, and then you can just leave those at the host home on Sunday morning. You'll notice the schedule for Sunday varies by which campus that you're at. If you serve here at the Brandon campus, you will be here at 9:15. You're going to drop your luggage off in the back of the SEC. And then we're going to do something a little bit different that morning at Brandon. We're actually going to split middle school and high school. So middle school and high school will be split between the SEC and the gym. Lewis and I are each going to take one of those groups, and we're just going to spend 20 to 25 minutes kind of tying a bow on the weekend. After we're done, we're going to turn that time over to you for you all to have just one final discussion with your group. Really, the point of that time is, okay, where do we go from here? What's next? What are the decisions that were made this weekend? And how do we move forward with them? One of the really cool things that we're excited about that we're going to do this year is following Movement Weekend, we are going to be launching a 6-week teaching series / reading plan through the book of Galatians. So on Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights, we're going to be teaching through the book of Galatians for 6 weeks, essentially until right after spring break. The students are going to have an opportunity to read that week what we're going to be teaching on Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights. What's going to be really cool is we've just spent the entire weekend talking about God's word. How do we study God's word? How do we interpret it? What's the significance of God's word in our life? And now we're going to have some really practical application of that for 6 weeks coming out of Movement. That's going to be the same at Brandon and Apollo Beach. And so we're actually going to launch that on Sunday morning. Lewis, myself, and John will spend that time kind of talking through the reading plan, what we would love the students to be a part of, and then they're actually going to get it's a bookmark that's going to have the reading plan on it that they'll get to keep in their Bibles and have with them as we walk through that series. So you'll notice that's kind of the schedule for Brandon. They'll attend the 11 o'clock worship service. The only thing I did want to note for those of you that are Apollo Beach campus, if you've served previously, there's a little bit of a pivot to the schedule just because Apollo Beach has now launched their 3rd service. I know, super exciting. So you'll notice you guys don't have to be to church until 9:30. You'll drop off luggage and have breakfast in the student room, and then you'll do the same thing that we're doing here at Brandon. That will start at 10 o'clock. So John will lead through that time. And then the students will sit through the 11:30 worship service, and then you guys will be dismissed from there. If you have a student in your group that typically attends our Riverview campus, let us know. We have several students who are part of our Riverview campus that come and are a part of Movement Weekend, and we want to do everything that we can to help facilitate getting them down to Riverview that Sunday. And so I think we're aware of all the students that are going to be going to Riverview, but if you happen to come across someone in your group who typically attends Riverview, let us know because we want to make sure we can facilitate that. A couple more things, and then I'm going to turn it over to Lewis. The main method of communication throughout the weekend is going to be our group meet. It's on the last page. So if you look under miscellaneous items, you'll see a QR code that is for you to scan and to join our group meet. That group meet is how we're going to communicate large group information to everyone for the weekend. So if there's a schedule change, if there's something that we need everyone to be aware of, leaders and host homes, we're going to throw it in the group meet. So my encouragement would be to go ahead and join that and make sure your notifications are turned on for that. Also, what we're going to be doing this year, every group is going to be placed in a group chat with the leaders, host home, myself, Lewis, or John. Okay, so every group is going to have a group chat that's going to have us in it. Brandon groups, you'll have Lewis and myself. Apollo Beach groups, you'll have John. This is super helpful. One, if you don't know your host home or your leaders, it's a really easy way for you to just go ahead and connect with them. Two, if any behavioral issues pop up during the weekend, it's a really easy way for leaders to communicate with host homes, but also for us to be aware as well. So it's just an easy way for everyone in each house, in each group, to make sure that we're on the same page. So we're going to be making those group chats tomorrow. So don't be shocked if you get thrown in a group chat with a bunch of random numbers. That's okay. That's how we're going to be communicating if we need something from your group specifically for the weekend. The final thing, and then I'm going to turn it over to Lewis. If you have a student who is going to be leaving for a portion of the weekend, chances are you probably are going to. There is a jot form link that the parent is going to have to fill out. That jot form link will come to us. It'll let us know when and where the student is going to be leaving and arriving. What we're going to do is flip those jot forms to you so you're aware of who's going to be coming and going from your group during the weekend. What we need from you is when that student gets picked up And when that student gets dropped back off, we need you to let us know. That's exactly where those group chats come into play. So if you have a student that's going to be leaving for a portion of the weekend, throw it in the group chat and say, hey, Johnny just got picked up from the host home. We're good. And then when Johnny gets dropped back off, whether that's at the church, the host home mission project, wherever, follow up with an additional text that says, hey, Johnny's back, a part of our group. Okay. We're going to make sure you know ahead of time who's going to be there and who's going to kind of be coming, going. But that's helpful for us as well to keep track of which students are physically on campus and which have stepped away for a portion of the weekend. All right. Any questions about anything that we've just talked about? Yes. Yes, the sessions will be live streamed. So if you want to go online to watch, you can go to bellshoals.com/movement. That's a direct link to watch those sessions. They're also going to be streamed to our Facebook pages as well. Great question. All right, we good? Come on.
You guys. Okay, a couple things, just kind of, to go back through just a handful of things, just to make some emphasis. The first thing is, John kind of already mentioned this, but, collecting phones in the homes is super important. If you're in your mind, you're thinking, man, I want to be the cool leader, and it's not that big of a deal. There's actually a real danger in them having their phones in homes. Different families have different rules, different procedures, different boundaries. And so some people would be allowed to have certain content on their phones, while others would not have allowability to have that for that thing. So for each and every one of us, we have to be the ones to toe the line in that. And so ultimately we end up getting the concerned parent who is maybe labeled the strict parent, or the one who's really trying to hold the line on some things. And we're talking about, man, we want to partner with you. And so we have told and communicated to all of our parents that we will collect the phones. So we just have to be leaders and be people of our word and actually collect those phones. Maybe double check and just make sure and reiterate, because we do have students who every year they bring two phones. One is a phone that doesn't work. They hand it in. The other phone, they keep them there. And so we just be mindful.
I've had
Ask twice, maybe a third time. Also keep your eyes open. It's important. And if there is a student who is trying to bend the rules or trying to get away with something, please let us know. There's not a tolerance for that, because of a lot of the dangers that come with it. There's a reason we want to collect the phones. And so we're not just going to allow that to happen. So keep us in the loop on that specifically. Also, in those group chats that Morgan was just talking about, host homes, you set the ground rules for your house. Leaders, you enforce those ground rules with students. Does that make sense? We don't want to put the host homes in a weird spot where they've got to tell students that they're not super familiar with that they need to stop doing something or whatever. So in that group chat is a great place to say, hey, thank you guys so much for being in my house. Just want to give you a heads up. We've got like 30 like they grabbed water bottles, they drank this much, and then they just left them on the counter. If we could just clean that up, then the leader gets to go to the students and be like, hey guys, let's pick up after ourselves, or whatever it is. One small example, there's probably 1,000 more that we could give. But let that be the form of communication. So leaders, be in good communication with your host homes. For some leaders, it's easy because they are the host homes. So you can talk to yourself if you need to. But either way, we want leaders to be able to enforce, to take that burden off of our host homes specifically. One other thing that we try to be intentional with is mission projects are sort of strategically placed based on proximity to your host home. Instead of you trying to travel one place, then you got to go back to your host home, then you got to come back to the church. We recognize that some of the houses have a couple showers and a dozen students, and you're like, how are we going to pull this off? We try to just figure out ways to create more time in those host homes, so you guys can kind of clean up. If you have a pool, just just throw them in the pool, they'll be fine. Call it a shower and be done with it. For middle school guys,
Yeah.
that's it right
That's
there.
better
For high
than
school
normal.
guys, honestly. No. So whatever that looks like, but because of that, for those of you who might end up in the host home for an extended period of time during that afternoon, just be mindful again of movies that you watch, of shows that you watch. To be honest with you, it would probably be a good idea to not watch movies and not watch shows because, again, some families have different standards for what they allow to be in front of their student than others. So I would say even video games, be very cautious with. If it's like a Mario Kart, okay, but man, let's kind of limit all of that and let's build some relationships, community, some conversation. Go play outside. Go organize a football game. Do whatever you can to connect. But a lot of the media things are really challenging for parents these days, and so we don't want to contribute to that by just saying, "Hey guys, let's circle around and watch a movie." That you might say that's a perfectly appropriate movie, but other families might have a little bit of a different opinion, and we just want to respect. Again, we're partnering with families. We want to respect those things. So just a handful of things as we kind of walk through that I think will probably be helpful for us to lean into. Also, there's some of you in here who have done this 1,000 times, and you're like, dude, I know this back and forth, but inevitably during our weekend, as we're kind of running around, we always get somebody who's like, hey, what am I supposed to do again? Listen, it would be so helpful if you just have a good grasp of what's in here, know where you actually have to engage and you have to know some things where it's not just about getting your students from one place to the next or moving them through the schedule, because there are some pieces that really do depend on you. We really need you to kind of initiate the next step in that. So please get to know this. Take some time to get to know this. That'd be super helpful for us the weekend of for sure. Okay. One thing that we typically get for weekends like this, obviously, Pastor Corey is going to be pretty heavily engaging in not only the Bible, but specifically the gospel. The first night is, just as John said, it's a walk through the Bible that culminates in the death, burial, resurrection of Jesus Christ. And so because of that, we're hitting the gospel pretty hard on that first night. Inevitably, we have students that want to make decisions, that are wrestling with decisions, and Pastor Corey will kind of lead us through that invitation time so that we understand what's happening. And if there are some things that are specific that we need you to do during that invitation time, we'll keep you posted in the group meet for sure if there's any kind of pivots. But he's going to kind of guide that time for us. Definitely be aware and be ready to counsel with students. And if you're like, man, I don't even know what to do. I've never done that before. I wouldn't even know what to say. That's what the next couple pages are for you in your leader package. So that first one, how to counsel students, they've just come out of a sermon. They've just come out of a message. So be cautious in giving them another message from your perspective. Really, the best thing that you can do is ask them questions. Let them have an opportunity to share and not leading questions that we want to see, like, for an example of a leading question would be, do you want to pray to receive Christ right now? And they're like, yeah, sure, I guess. Like, that's a good question, maybe after some conversation, because sometimes students just walk through different things and they say, yeah, sure, I'll do that if that's the next step, but maybe not have a specific understanding of what that looks like. So questions like, hey, what is going on in your life right now? What's going on in your heart right now? If they're upset, what are you upset about? Are there things going on in your life that you're struggling with right now? Yes, tell me about some of those things so that you can have an understanding of where their heart is, where their mind is, where they're thinking. And if you've had the conversation and they're like, man, they really seem to understand the gospel and they really seem to be ready to make a decision, then we have the question of, man, is this something that you want to do right now? Is this a decision you want to make right now to choose to follow Jesus for the rest of your life? So steward that time well. Don't be afraid of that. And if anything pops up, just like John was saying earlier, with any kind of abuse or self-harm, you have to let us know immediately. Don't sit on that night. Definitely let us know immediately in that conversation. We'll go through our process of what it looks like to whether we need to report, whether we need to connect with parents, but then we end up being the people, the primary people that shepherd the family through those situations as they move on. But use this as a guide, a tool for you to ask specific questions. and see where that conversation goes. And please, John mentioned this, but please fill out that decision card. That information is so valuable to us as we're trying to follow up and get an idea of what's going on in their lives. So you got that. And if in your mind you're like, listen, I've been to church my whole life, but sharing the gospel is the most intimidating thing on the planet, which maybe that's you, and that's okay. This is a very simple guide that we should all pretty much, we really need to get to know. This is so helpful because you're not, if you've ever kind of shared the gospel and you feel like you're kind of scatterbrained and you're over here, but then you forgot a thing over here. This is simple, to the point. You've got scripture references in there. Maybe you get to know that. Maybe this may seem childish, but practice this. Go home and talk to your kids about it, your spouse about it. Maybe get to know what it would look like to actually walk someone through the gospel. Because our prayer is that we actually would have these conversations many times this weekend. And the first time we do it, it would be hard if it was a student on the other side of that conversation, rather than maybe just practicing it ourselves. So lean into that and share the gospel well. Just so you know our process. If there is a student that says, you know what, yes, I want to pray to receive Christ right now. I want to commit my life to him right now. We praise God for that. Typically what we do is we don't tell them to repeat after us. What we do is we say, hey, well then just take a moment and pray to God. And basically all you're doing is you're going to say, I know that I'm a sinner. I can't earn my way into heaven. God, that's why you sent your son to die on the cross. I believe that. I turn from my sin and choose to follow you. That's it. You're coaching them on how the structure, what the heart behind it is, and then you let them go. If instead of reciting the prayer that you have come up with, what you do is then you get to see, okay, what is he actually praying? What is she actually praying in that moment? Is there actual understanding of what they're saying? And sometimes you get some of these prayers that you're just like, wow, I couldn't have said that better myself, honestly, if I'd have told you to repeat that. So allow them to be the ones to engage in that part of it. That's really important. If a student prays to receive Christ, number one, praise God. Let's celebrate that. Maybe even throw it in the group chat. We can celebrate that. I don't mind blowing up the group chat for salvation. That'd be amazing. But here, yeah, nothing else. Yeah. Only salvation. So here's what our process is after somebody prays to receive Christ. Every student that has either indicated a decision to pray to receive Christ and that is interested in baptism, our process really as a church is that the three of us, we engage with that student. We have a separate meeting with that student to make sure that there is a grasp and an understanding of the gospel. And then we have a conversation to make sure that there is an understanding of what baptism is. And then we coordinate with our connections team, our baptism team, and then we move them forward through the next step in their spiritual journey, which is baptism. We actually have baptisms lined up for this Sunday, the Sunday after movement. I think we're right up to 8, maybe 9 already. That Sunday baptism was just kind of a, what you call me? Sunday. Oh yeah, Sunday of movement. Yeah, this coming Sunday. Yeah. This Sunday, coming to movement, we are doing some baptisms. The idea behind that was really just to celebrate what God's doing in the life of our student ministry, not just this weekend in particular. So our goal is not necessarily, hey, if somebody made a decision for Christ, we got to get them in that water the very next day. That's not our plan at all. We still want to go through our process where if a student is there, we are going to sit down with them individually and we're going to counsel with them. And so a student for Bell Shoal specifically won't get baptized unless they go through that process, and we meet with every single student for that. Does that make sense? Any thoughts, questions, concerns on that? Okay, fantastic. Any concerns or questions about counseling students or sharing the gospel or anything like that? What was that? I heard that. Immediately. Okay.
Where do we go if a student grabs us on Friday or Saturday night in the chapel and we're like, where do we talk to them because it's really loud?
Great question. A quieter place. That'd be a great idea. There are some places, obviously the chapel lobby is a good one, maybe just right outside, but be in line of sight of another adult for sure. Don't go off into the distance of the night in the middle of a parking lot. Like, stay. Don't be weird. Please don't be weird. Keep us right in this area. Courtyard is a great option, but definitely stay somewhere. Don't just be alone with you and a student ever, for sure, even if it's counseling for something like that. And then even in your small groups, like kind of share what's going on. Hey, this is a good thing. Let's celebrate this within our groups because at the end of the day, your students need to see their peers making decisions, working through that thing. And that's a really exciting thing and can sometimes be contagious where, like, man, I kind of need to make a call on something that's going on in my own life, right? You're not sharing their business, but you have an opportunity to celebrate when they do come to know the Lord. So great question, John. Thank you so much for asking the question. Anybody else? Okay. Anything else? Candy for Easter. Bring us candy, please. That'd be great. Man, we at our parent meeting.
That's just
At our parent meeting this morning, we shared with parents that we're collecting candy for movement weekend. So during check-in, they'll be handing us bags of individually wrapped candy so that we can stuff Easter eggs for our Easter event that we do every single year. We're not stuffing Easter eggs over the weekend, but we definitely need to receive all of that candy as best we can. So if you have a student coming to movement, or if you just have a bunch of candy laying around that's packaged, please bring it. That'd be amazing. That'd be awesome. We cannot have enough candy. Every year, obviously, we do this, and I think we're going even bigger than we did last year. So bring as much candy as you possibly can. That would be amazing. Yes, 10 bags. Yes, sir. I see you. Oh, well, I take a 5-pound gummy bear.
personally, I will.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I just got one for his son yesterday. So no, it has to fit in an Easter egg. If you can find an Easter egg big enough for it, we'll take it.
That'd be awesome.
Golden egg.
Oh,
Sorry.
You're gonna have to have like a kid.
You're pretty noticeable. Just a giant egg. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. If you have not done a background check, number one, Brittany has probably already messaged you 700 times. But you need to be background checked. Everybody in your home that is over the age of 18 needs to be background checked. There's also a safety training video that comes along with that. We've told all of our parents that everybody in the house that's an adult is background checked. We've gone through our vetting process. We want our parents to understand that their child is safe in our care. And so that is a priority for us. Brittany, especially this week, will be all over you this week to make sure that you've got that done and completed. Please help us in that process. The closer we get to the weekend, the more things we've got to knock out and take care of. So those being left hanging a little bit does make it a little bit challenging for us in the office as we're trying to prep for the weekend itself. So please, if you are not doing that, go ahead and get it done. And I'm going to go through the list of who hasn't done it yet. I'm just kidding. I don't know this. I should take the project. Did you really?
Fail.
Yeah, let's see the worst leaders are. All right, yeah, I'll answer your question over here. Yeah, we've connected with parents. If there are specific medicines that they need that are maybe less dangerous, if that makes sense, they'll be able to administer it themselves. A lot of times parents don't even give medication for students over the weekend because it's such a short amount of time. Those that deal with ADHD, we're praying that the students have their medicine. That'd be great. But typically, we basically told parents if there are some medications that are pretty significant that we need to help them with, that they would just let us know and then we coordinate with the leaders for what that would look like to administer them to the
And
students.
we'll set any pertinent allergies or anything, we'll send that in those group chats that we're creating with the host homes and leaders. For any students in your group, we'll make sure you're aware of that.
Are we letting them do what? Yes.
Don't say yes.
All right, no, 2 questions.
Kids with diabetes that have phones that connect to it and say they have to have their phone with them.
We're not taking that, but we would have a pre-conversation with them to say, hey, listen, this is the appropriate way with which you are to use that. So if
Those are pre-conversations that we have with parents, and
Correct.
we've already had them.
Yeah.
Yes.
if they're using them the way that they're not supposed to, then we have a conversation with parents for sure. Yes.
Second
Second
question.
question.
Are we removing all Keurigs, teas, coffees, and especially sugars from all of the rooms over there? Thrown around everywhere and drank and eaten them?
Great question. The question was, are we removing all sugars, Keurigs, coffee pots, and anything else that might be a projectile sort of? If you're, the answer is no. From the meeting rooms that you'll be in for small groups, what I would say is be the first one to enter the room and the last one to leave the room, so that there are not students who are just wild and free in that room, because that's just what happens. We would have to clear the entirety of the room out to have literally nothing in there for that to not be the case. So I'd say the easiest way to do that is be the first one in, last one out. Sometimes we say, we'll just meet you in the room and it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, maybe. We'll go extreme. But we'll send police dogs after them. It'll be great. Yes. Great thought. Yes, sir.
We talked about phones, what about smartwatches? Right. There's a lot of kids that have smartwatches that are already connected, making sure we take those as well, and we'll run into that.
There you go.
Great question. I say we take them. Can we take them?
Mhm.
We
Because a
take-
lot of them are connected to cellular.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's not just like, oh no, it's Wi-Fi. It's like, no, that's a phone.
It's still access to the internet. If they need to know what time it is, we'll give them a heads up. We'll let them know.
They can read a clock.
Yeah, good luck with that. Actually, my kids are learning that, so
Go
not
Kevin.
that you don't care about that at all. I don't know why I said that out loud. Great question. Great question. Anything else? Yes, ma'am. Oh, goodness. Praise God for this question. This is an amazing question. The question was, how do you deal with parents who insist on communicating with their kids? This is for real. If there is a parent who is trying to connect with you consistently for something that is not an emergency, let us know immediately. Because we want to be able to kind of buffer you from that. You have too many things to think about, to lean into. We talked about this in our parent meeting this morning. And I all but said, leave us alone. I did say leave us alone, actually. But basically what we're trying to communicate to parents is that is for emergency purposes only. And that is not hey, can you send me some pictures of my kids? Hey, can I have a conversation with my kid? If a parent texts you to talk to their kid immediately, go ahead and do it. Like, we're not going to be like, is it an emergency? Like, be careful with that. Parents probably aren't going to like that a ton. But if it is consistent and it is ongoing, please let us know so that we can help be an advocate for you. The last thing we want is your mind on 700 things and 30 parents at the same time. So, excellent question. Best question so far. No offense.
Yeah, Annabelle.
But that's a great point. Let us help you in that, because that is challenging for sure. Anything else? Right now, there's some people saying, please don't raise your hand. I want to get out of here. That's fine. It's totally fine. Totally good. Okay. Nothing else? Nothing else? Nothing else? So always double check. You never know. All right, guys, there is no chance that this can happen without you. It is a huge deal that you're here. It is a gift to our student ministry. It's a gift to us as student leaders. It's a gift to our families of Bell Shoals, and we have students that don't even come to Bell Shoals that come to events like this. And a lot of their families are connected to any churches. We do have some families that are connected to other churches, but man, that they are just looking for a reason to not plug into a church. I mean, we are just praying that God would make an impact in the life of a student. And man, who knows what that does in terms of what it represents for the family that can also get connected. So this weekend, I know you're gonna be dead tired at the end of it. You're probably already tired going into it. I get it. There's a lot going on. Hopefully you avoided getting sick, all of those things. Maybe some people are kind of in the middle of that. But just like John said earlier, man, prepare your heart. Like, pray that God would give you patience, rest, all of the things. Because I don't know if you've noticed this in when we baptize students, a lot of the stories of where they started to really feel that impact were at events like this. Those are some of the reasons why events like this are so important for us, because they're saturated in the Word of God, they're saturated in biblical community, they have people in their lives that are pouring into them and encouraging them, and a lot of times our students don't get that ever in their life. And so what you're doing this weekend for us is just an incredible gift and a massive generosity for our church and for our students. So thank you so much for doing that. So I want to pray for us. And then we're just going to go ahead and dismiss only 45 minutes early. Thank you so much. And then we'll get out of here. If you need some more food, please take some more food. So let's pray. God, we come before you just excited, but also tired and not knowing what's going to happen, and probably have so much already on our plates. And now we're adding this entire weekend. And Father, I pray, Lord, that the enemy would not be anywhere near this weekend, not anywhere near our hearts, our minds, our families, even as we prepare for this weekend. But Father, I pray that we would lean into you. I pray that you would help us to guard our hearts, guard our minds in preparation and in expectant faith that you are going to do massive things in the lives of our students. Father, you'll do massive things in our own lives as we hear the truth of the word being taught. And I pray, Father, that this weekend would be, Lord, just a spark in a lot of students' lives that would essentially initiate them taking another step in their spiritual journey. I pray, Father, that there would be many students who would go from death to life this weekend, that would pray to receive Christ and experience salvation for the first time, God. And I pray that you would help us as leaders to steward their hearts in a way that helps push them towards you, Father. I pray, God, that you would just give us the heart to even continue and follow up with some of these students and some of these families that we meet along the way, God. But ultimately, God, we just pray that you would have your way, Lord, that it would be all for your glory, Lord, and that we would just celebrate all that you've done in the life of our student ministry after next weekend, God. We thank you for this time. We thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for these incredible men and women who are sacrificing their time and energy and even their homes, God, Lord, for your glory and for this student ministry, God. We love you. We ask all these things in your son's name. Amen. Amen. Thank you guys so much. You were incredible. Please drive safe.
Please drive safe.
Wait, and
Can't say dismissed.